I got on the wrong train. Where am I going? A successful businessman, but despite his wealth, he still felt empty. But he did not expect to meet his ex-lover thanks to this. That wrong train was the best trip of his life. The city stirred before the sun did. Skyscrapers blinked to life like cold metal giants stretching off sleep, and streets trembled under the weight of early footfalls and impatient horns. Adam Cole stood at Union Terminal, collar stiff, suitcase in hand, surrounded by the hum of a world that moved fast and without pause. He didn't look up when the announcement echoed overhead. Train 109 to Willow Creek, boarding at platform 7. He barely heard it. His Bluetooth crackled in one ear while his thumb fired off an email with the other. The assistant on the line, Madison, sounded tight. "You're cutting it close. Mr. Hahn's flight lands in 2 hours. If you miss the window..." "I won't." Adam's voice was flat. "Tell them to hold the room for 30 minutes. You know they won't wait. Then they're not worth the investment." He hung up, eyes darting to the train doors ahead. Platform 7, right on time. Without a second glance, he boarded the nearest car. The doors hissed shut behind him. The train was wrong. He noticed it too late. There were no leather seats, no soft music, no fluorescent lights humming behind sleek paneling. Instead, the carriage smelled faintly of old pine and dust. The seats were upholstered in worn red fabric, and the windows rattled lightly with each jerk forward. He sat stiffly, blinking. This isn't the express line. Across from him, an elderly man in a thick wool coat was watching him, eyes kind, but alert. "Expecting the business class ride?" the man asked with a chuckle. Adam didn't answer. He glanced at his phone. No signal. He opened his calendar, then shut it. Numbers had ruled his life for years. Now, suddenly, time felt irrelevant. "This train's headed to Willow Creek," the old man offered. Adam blinked. "That's not where I'm going." "Well," the man said, folding his hands over a walking cane. "Sometimes the wrong train takes you to the right place." Adam scoffed, just barely. "I don't believe in destiny." The man smiled without arguing. "Didn't say you had to. Name's Henry, by the way." "Adam," he replied, almost automatically. The train gave a lurch, settling into a rhythm like an old song. Through the window, the skyline began to shrink, swallowed by the open arms of the countryside. Adam leaned his head back and closed his eyes. When he opened them, someone had sat beside him. A young man, shaggy hair, sketchbook in lap. His clothes were loose and stained with dried paint. "Nice coat," the guy said, nodding toward Adam's designer jacket. "You from Midtown?" "Yes." "Figured. Not many suits ride this train." The guy grinned. "Leo. I'm headed back to Willow to finish a mural." "I got on the wrong train," Adam muttered. Leo raised an eyebrow, scribbling something in his notebook. "Maybe. Or maybe you needed to get away and didn't know it." Adam didn't answer. "You know," Leo added casually, "some people pay a fortune for retreats just to escape all that concrete noise. You got it for the price of a mistake." Adam finally looked at him. "You talk like a therapist." "I paint like one," Leo said with a shrug. The train slowed at a small junction. Out the window, a boy no older than 7 sat on a bench, nose deep in a paperback. Something about the worn corners of the book, the child's complete absorption in it, stirred something in Adam. He leaned in slightly. That's the book Selena used to love. The thought hit like a sudden breath of winter air. "You know him?" Leo asked, noticing his focus. Adam shook his head. "No. Just reminds me of someone." The boy looked up, caught Adam's stare. "Is Selena your wife?" he called through the window, innocent and direct. Adam blinked, caught off guard. "Number just... someone I used to know." The train began to pull away. The boy returned to his story. Adam sat in silence. Later, The conductor passed through to check tickets. She was a woman in her 50s, with sharp eyes and a kind tone. "Ticket, sir?" Adam offered his digital pass. She scanned it. "Sir, this is for the 8:05 express to Eastern Heights." "I know," he said through his teeth. She gave a light laugh. "Well, you're on the 7:55 to Willow Creek." "Clearly." She tilted her head. "It's a lovely town, actually. Slower pace, quiet mornings." "I'm not here for quiet." "Maybe quiet's here for you," she said, then moved on. Adam turned to the window, staring at fields opening wide beneath a grey morning sky. How the hell did this happen? His phone was still dead. His pulse, for once, was not racing. He breathed in. What now? Outside, the horizon unfolded in golden silence. Inside the carriage, everything slowed. No meetings, no alerts, no emails demanding answers. Just the hum of steel on rail and the quiet company of strangers who asked nothing of him. And somehow, that emptiness wasn't empty at all. The station at Willow Creek barely qualified as such. A single weathered bench sat beneath a crooked wooden awning, flanked by two planters overflowing with trailing ivy. Beyond it, a narrow cobbled street stretched into a row of small brick buildings, each with hand-painted signs and aging shutters. Adam stepped off the train and onto the platform, leather shoes crunching softly on gravel. His coat, sleek and tailored, looked absurd here, like a silk tie at a bonfire. He scanned the platform for a service desk. There wasn't one, only an old man in a Navy conductor's cap, polishing his glasses with the hem of his shirt. Adam approached him, suitcase dragging lightly behind. "Excuse me, when's the next train back to the city?" The man squinted up at him. "You just got here?" "Yes, and I need to leave." "Well, son." He returned the glasses to his face, smirking gently. "That'd be tomorrow, 10:15 sharp, unless the cows block the tracks again." Adam blinked. "You're joking. Not about cows, no." The man extended a hand. "Dwight, welcome to Willow Creek." Adam didn't take it. He nodded curtly and turned away, scanning the street. No taxis, no cars. A cat darted between porch steps across the road. He checked his phone. Still no signal. Fantastic. The town looked like it hadn't updated since the 1950s. He walked past a barber pole, a closed bakery with a "back at 2" sign, and a thrift shop where a mannequin wore a prom dress 3 decades out of date. Every door was painted differently. Soft blues, weathered reds, sunflower yellows, none matching, all charming in a way he hated admitting. Halfway down the block, he spotted it. Wren and Willow Cafe. A small hand-painted sign hung above the window, a pale green door beneath it. Through the glass, he saw wooden tables, old books stacked on ledges, and a woman wiping the counter. He stepped inside. A bell above the door jingled. The smell hit first, cinnamon and fresh bread. A young woman behind the register glanced up. She was maybe 20, wearing an apron dotted with flower smudges and a bright yellow headband. "Whoa," she said, blinking. "You're definitely not from around here." "Sharp eye." She grinned. "Well, we don't get a lot of suits unless it's funeral season." Adam exhaled. "I'm just looking for directions, or maybe somewhere with internet." "Internet?" She laughed. "Try the library, 2 blocks down, past the church. You'll know it by the smell of old paper and regret." He raised an eyebrow. "I'm Jenny, by the way," she added, still smiling. "You want coffee while you rethink your entire schedule?" He hesitated. "Black, no sugar." Jenny turned to pour. "You here for the weekend?" "I'm here by accident." "Well," she said over her shoulder, "Willow Creek's full of those." As she handed him the mug, the door behind the counter creaked open. A woman stepped out, carrying a crate of books. Adam's fingers froze around the ceramic. She didn't see him at first. She was focused on stacking the books on a shelf, her movements quiet and efficient. Her hair was darker now, pulled up in a loose knot. She wore no makeup, just jeans, boots, and a fitted grey sweater rolled at the sleeves. Selena Morgan. She turned, and their eyes met. For a moment, time refused to move. The cafe faded. The clinking mugs, the bell above the door, the voice of Jenny offering banana bread samples, all dissolved into silence. Her expression didn't change. No gasp, no smile, no raised brows. Just a slow blink. Then she set the final book down. Adam cleared his throat. "We know each other, right?" Selena tilted her head, almost imperceptibly. "Not everyone forgets that easily," she said. Her voice was exactly the same. Lower than most women's, slightly raspy, like leaves brushing over stone. Jenny glanced between them, eyebrows raised. "I'll, go check on the cinnamon rolls." She vanished into the kitchen. Selena didn't move closer. Adam took one step forward, then thought better of it. "I didn't know you were here," he said. "You wouldn't." There was no malice in it, just a fact. Adam nodded slowly. "You run this place. I own it." "That makes sense." Selena folded her arms. "Why are you in Willow Creek, Adam?" "Wrong train." Her lips twitched. Almost a smile. Almost. "That sounds about right." "I didn't mean to." "I know." She cut in gently. "You never meant to." He swallowed. Something tightened behind his ribs. A soft thud came from the kitchen. Jenny's muffled curse followed. Selena turned toward the sound, then looked back at him. "You should finish your coffee," she said. "It's a long walk to the library." And then she walked past him, calm, unhurried, and disappeared through the kitchen door. Outside, Adam stood for a while on the cobblestone sidewalk, steam curling from his paper cup. He hadn't taken a sip. Across the street, an old toy store displayed a tiny pair of red shoes in the window. Child-sized, scuffed. He stared at them longer than he meant to. Behind the glass, a woman lifted her toddler onto her hip. The child's laugh echoed faintly into the street. Adam blinked and turned away. The town smelled of wood smoke and lavender. A breeze stirred the chimes above the cafe door. And somewhere inside, behind an old oak counter, was a woman who used to know everything about him, and maybe still did. Let's play a little game with the people who only read the comments. Type pizza in the comments. Only those who read this far will get it. Now, let's continue the story. Morning light filtered through the cafe windows in long, angled stripes. Dust danced lazily above the wooden floorboards, stirred by the quiet rhythm of footsteps and the occasional scrape of a chair leg. Outside, birdsong fluttered in and out with the breeze, carrying with it the scent of warm cinnamon. Adam was still there. He sat at the corner table now, fingers wrapped around a cooling mug. He hadn't touched the coffee. His suitcase sat at his feet, like a reminder of a life waiting elsewhere. Selena moved behind the counter, folding dish towels, checking the register. Efficient. Composed. If she felt anything, it didn't show. "Refill?" she asked without looking at him. He hesitated. "Sure." She poured without flourish, setting the pot down with a soft clink. Then she turned to wipe down a tray, her body angled away like a door slightly ajar, but not open. Adam tried to find his voice. "You kept the name," he said. Selena glanced over her shoulder. "What name?" "Wren and Willow. That was what you used to say, remember? If you ever opened a place. Something small. Something kind." She paused for a second, then resumed wiping. "Some things stick," she said. There was a silence. Not cold, not warm, just waited. The bell above the door jingled. An elderly woman shuffled in, her cane tapping against the floor in a familiar rhythm. "Morning, Lena," she chirped. "That banana bread still warm?" Selina's face softened. "Fresh out of the oven, Agnes. Want your usual table?" "You know me." The woman beamed, then turned to look at Adam. Her eyes narrowed, curious. New face. Selina handed over a plate and gently steered Agnes toward her favorite seat near the front window. "He's just passing through," she said over her shoulder. Adam exhaled. Passing through. Somehow, that stung more than he expected. Another bell. The door opened again. This time Leo stepped in, hoodie half-zipped, paint on his fingers. "Hey, boss lady," he called. "Your mural wall's still waiting. Thought I'd grab some caffeine courage first." Selina smiled. Genuinely, Adam noticed. "Coffee's hot, and there's a corner still blank. You'd better fix that before someone adds a bad quote." Leo grinned, then spotted Adam. "Wait, weren't you on the train yesterday?" "Huh. Small world." Adam nodded faintly. "Seems smaller by the minute." Leo poured himself a cup and took it to the window seat beside Agnes. Selina moved behind the counter again, her hands never idle. Adam stood. "Do you have a minute?" he asked quietly. Selina paused, looked up. "To talk?" He nodded. She considered him, then gestured toward the back. "Follow me." They stepped through a narrow hallway into the storage room. Wooden crates lined the shelves, labeled in neat handwriting. A small table sat under a window, covered in dried herbs and newspaper scraps. Selina leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Adam stayed standing. "I didn't come here to dig things up," he said. "I didn't even know you were here." "I believe you." He rubbed the back of his neck. "It's just seeing you again." It pulled something loose. Selina didn't respond. "I was young," he went on. "I thought leaving meant freedom, that staying meant giving something up." "You were afraid," she said simply. He looked at her. "Of what?" Selina's eyes met his, steady. "Of needing someone." The words hit like a quiet bell ringing in an empty room. "You're still afraid," she added. He took a step closer. "Maybe, but I'm here." Selina didn't move. "You're here because of a mistake." Adam. "A missed train. Not a decision." Silence again. He looked down at the floor, then out the small window behind her. Outside, the town moved at a pace that ignored ambition. A woman watered plants. A boy chased a dog. Nothing needed to be hurried here. "I stayed behind," she said after a while. "I could have left. I had opportunities. But I wanted roots. I wanted mornings that didn't come with alarms." Adam nodded slowly. "I didn't write," he said. "No. I should have. Yes." She walked past him, opened the back door. Fresh air rolled in. Adam followed her gaze. A family walked by out back, 2 little kids and their mother, holding hands. Selina watched them for a moment. Adam turned to her. "Are you happy?" She looked at him, then gave a soft, unreadable smile. "I'm whole," she said. He didn't know what to do with that. They stood there, 2 people who used to be something, now suspended in a space between memory and consequence. Finally, she said, "You should go. Coffee's on the house." Adam nodded. As she turned back toward the cafe, she added without looking, "You're still the same, Adam. Still trying to outrun quiet. Still thinking you don't need anyone." And then she was gone. The air outside had shifted. The clouds were moving low and slow, carrying the weight of late afternoon. Somewhere nearby, wind chimes clinked softly, and the scent of fresh-cut grass mingled with cooling coffee in Adam's hand. He hadn't moved. He stood across the narrow street from the cafe, half-shadowed beneath a small awning, his back against the frame of an old bookstore closed for the afternoon. The coffee in his cup was cold now, long forgotten, but he hadn't noticed. His eyes were on the pale green door of Wren and Willow. It opened with a jingle. 2 voices spilled out before the bodies did, light, overlapping, and fast in the way only children could manage. "Wait for me! You cheated!" Tiny sneakers squeaked on the tile. A blur of matching backpacks and swinging ponytails burst into view. 2 girls, identical, but not, tumbling into the cafe like they belonged to its bones. "Mommy!" they called together. Selina appeared from behind the counter. She was laughing, not politely, not cautiously. A real, belly-deep sound Adam hadn't heard from her in years. The taller of the 2, Lily, he'd learn later, reached her first and wrapped her arms tight around Selina's waist. The other girl, Chloe, held up a crumpled piece of colored paper. "We made trees," she said proudly. "Yours has hearts." Adam didn't realize he'd taken a step forward until his shoe scuffed the edge of the curb. The girl's, the one with the paper, Chloe, had a dimple when she smiled. A single one, on the left cheek. Exactly like Margaret Cole, his mother had. And the way Lily furrowed her brow when looking at her sister. It was like watching himself in a mirror he didn't know existed. His grip tightened on the cup. The door swung shut behind them, muting the voices, but not the realization. He stood frozen. A voice behind him broke the stillness. "They're always loud after art class," someone said. Adam turned. A man with salt and pepper stubble and a tweed vest leaned on the doorway of the adjacent bookstore. He looked relaxed, eyes kind behind thick glasses. "Marvin," the man said, offering a nod. "I own the shop." Adam gave a tight nod. "First time in town?" Marvin asked. "Something like that." Marvin smiled knowingly. "You know Selina?" Adam hesitated. "Used to. Then you must be—" "Adam." He blinked. "She mentioned me." Marvin shrugged, not in words. There was a pause. Marvin's gaze followed Adam's toward the cafe window, where the girls now sat at a table, munching muffins with abandon. "They're good kids," Marvin said. "Polite, smart. Selina's done right by them." Adam didn't answer. His thoughts were tangled and loud. "They have their father's eyes," Marvin added casually. "At least that's what people say." Adam's heart thumped once, loud and uneven. Inside, Chloe turned toward the window. Her gaze met his. Her head tilted. "Mommy," she said, mouth forming the words clearly through the glass. "Why is that man staring at us?" Selina looked up. Their eyes locked again. He didn't blink, didn't move. Selina rose slowly, whispered something to the girls. Then, without a coat or a sigh, she stepped out the cafe door and walked across the street. Adam straightened instinctively. She stopped in front of him, arms crossed. Calm, prepared, like she'd been expecting this since the moment he reappeared. "You're still here," she said. "I was leaving," Adam replied. "Then they came running in." Selina said nothing. "They look like you," he added. "They're mine," she said quietly. "I know," he said. "How old are they?" Selina's lips pressed into a line. "Old enough." "Selina?" "They're not yours, Adam." The words were soft, measured. He didn't believe her. She knew it. Behind her, the girls giggled. Chloe's face lit up in that way kids do when they're lost in muffins and safety. Lily kicked her feet beneath the table. Adam stared, hard. "The one on the left has my mother's dimple," he said. Selina's shoulders shifted, barely. "That's coincidence," she replied. "You don't believe that?" She didn't answer. He let the silence settle. It stretched, tugged, trembled with something unsaid. "You could have told me," he said finally. Selina met his gaze. Her voice was calm. "You didn't stay, Adam. You didn't ask. You didn't write. You made a choice. I didn't know I was choosing, but you did." she cut in. You chose not to know. The girls laughed again, louder now. Adam looked down at the coffee in his hand. The cup had collapsed slightly from his grip. A slow drip ran down the side, landed on the toe of his shoe. I didn't come to find this, he said quietly. I know. I don't even know what to do with it. Selina sighed, but it wasn't bitter. You don't have to do anything, she said. They're happy. They have everything they need. Do they know? No, she said. Not yet. He nodded. The wind picked up again. A wind chime from the bookstore clinked gently behind them. Will you tell them? Selina looked back at the cafe. Her eyes softened, but her jaw held firm. When it's time. Then she turned to go. Selina. She stopped. I'm not the same man I was. She looked back at him. Her voice was quiet. Then don't prove me wrong. And she walked away. Adam stood still. The door closed behind her. His coffee cup slipped from his hand and landed softly on the sidewalk. He didn't notice. The sun dipped behind the hills like it had nowhere else to be. The sky held onto a soft indigo hue, stretched thin over rooftops and telephone wires. The streets of Willow Creek exhaled with the quiet relief of evening, warm porch lights flickering on one by one. Adam sat on the edge of the narrow bed in room 2 of Claire's guest house, a creaky, white-painted inn tucked between the bakery and the church. The room smelled faintly of cedar and something floral. Maybe the potpourri in the glass bowl by the window. Maybe the past. He had unpacked nothing. The suitcase stood open, but untouched on the bench at the foot of the bed. His coat was draped over the back of the wooden chair. His phone, face down on the nightstand, had stopped vibrating hours ago. Emails, calendar alerts, messages from Madison, probably escalating from polite concern to corporate panic. He picked it up now and opened his inbox. There were 27 unread emails, one flagged as URGENT. Adam stared at the subject line for a long while. Then, without thinking much, he opened a blank reply and typed 3 words, reschedule, indefinitely. He hit send. The screen dimmed. He placed the phone back down, screen side down again. From the hallway, he heard a floorboard creak, the distant clink of Mrs. Claire setting her teacup into the sink, a voice murmuring from the small TV in the parlor, the kind of silence you only noticed once you stopped trying to escape it. He stood, walked toward the window. Outside, a single lamp cast a golden circle onto the sidewalk. The light flickered, like it was tired too. Across the street, the windows of Wren and Willow Cafe glowed gently. Inside, Selina moved like a shadow, clearing plates, wiping tables, switching off the lights one by one. She didn't glance out the window, didn't look for him. He didn't expect her to. He watched her for a while anyway. Later, Adam sat on the front porch of the inn, arms resting on the rails, a paper cup of warm tea in his hands. It wasn't coffee. It wasn't anything he'd usually drink. But it was here. And it was quiet. A rustle from the porch swing drew his attention. An old man, slightly stooped, with sharp grey eyes and a wool cap pulled low, took a slow seat beside him. He pulled out a tin of tobacco, lit a small pipe with practiced fingers. "Mind if I sit?" the man asked, though he already had. Adam shook his head. "Tom," the man said, offering his hand. Adam took it. "Adam. You staying a while?" "I don't know yet." Tom puffed on his pipe. The smoke curled around them, sweet and earthy. "I taught art at the school here for 30 years, Tom said. "Retired a decade ago, but I still drop by the community center. Selina teaches the Saturday classes now." Adam blinked. "She teaches art. Has for years. Runs the kids' group too. Good with them. Firm but gentle." Tom tilted his head toward Adam. "You know her?" Adam stared out at the road. "I did. A long time ago." Tom nodded. Still does, looks like. There was no accusation in his voice, just truth hanging lightly between them. Tom reached into his coat pocket, pulled out a folded paper slip and handed it over. "They're holding an open studio tomorrow morning," he said. "Kids mostly, but they like visitors. Parents sometimes join. Or whoever wants to sit and draw badly for an hour." Adam chuckled softly, almost surprised by the sound of it. "I can't draw." "Neither can most of them." Tom shrugged. "That's not the point." Adam unfolded the paper. Willow Creek Community Center, Saturday morning art, 9 a.m. "I'll think about it." Tom stood, tapping his pipe out carefully against the railing. "You look like a man who hasn't been still in a long time," he said. "Careful. This place tends to make people notice what they've been out running." He nodded once, then disappeared into the hallway with a soft creak of wood. Sometime after midnight, Adam couldn't sleep. He lay on his back, staring at the cracked ceiling, one arm behind his head. The silence pressed gently against him, not empty, but full. Full of things he hadn't faced. He let his mind go. Back to a lecture hall filled with chatter and bent heads, the smell of coffee and dry erase markers in the air. Selina sat 2 rows down, sketching idly in the margin of her notebook. Not taking notes, just drawing. Little birds, tiny branches, a storefront with ivy curling around its frame. Wren and willow, the earliest version. He had leaned over, whispered, "What's that?" She hadn't looked up. A dream. And what am I? Selina's pen paused. Then she had smiled. "Something I'll write under the closed on Sundays sign." He didn't laugh then. He hadn't understood what she meant. Now he did. His chest ached with it. The clock blinked at 2:31. He rose and stepped barefoot to the window again. Everything was dark now. The cafe, the bookstore. Even the wind had stopped. He whispered aloud. No one could hear him. "If they're mine, how long have I been gone from them?" His voice cracked in the middle, not from volume, but from weight. He didn't sleep that night. But in the morning, he put on the softest shirt he owned, folded the slip of paper from Tom into his jacket pocket, and walked toward the community center as the town slowly woke behind him. The morning held a thin, golden hush. The sun peeked shyly through tree branches, casting long shadows that danced across the sidewalk. Birds dipped low between the rooftops, and the town stirred as if waking from a dream it didn't want to end. Adam walked without direction. He passed the barber shop, the hardware store, the tiny library with its peeling white shutters. Children's chalk drawings still lingered faintly on the pavement. Flowers, stars, the word hope in block letters. He stopped to stare at it, just for a second. He turned the corner near the bakery and froze. Selina stood at the counter just inside, laughing. Lily and Chloe were crouched by the display case, arguing over scones. The girls moved like sunlight, bright, unpredictable, loud in all the best ways. Selina, dressed in a blue jacket and jeans, had her hair loosely pinned, a bit of flour dusting her shoulder. Adam watched from outside, not hidden, but distant, like a man looking into someone else's life. "You okay, sir?" asked a voice beside him. He turned to see a bakery assistant in a white apron, holding a tray of fresh baguettes. "You're staring," she said gently. Adam gave a faint smile. "I know." The girl smiled back, offered him a croissant. "On the house. It's that kind of day." He took it, not hungry, but grateful. "Thanks." 15 minutes later, the scene shifted. Selina wheeled a small vintage bike out from the bakery's side alley, Chloe perched on the back rack, Lily walking beside. The girls held paper bags of pastries. Then came the soft click of a problem. The chain slipped, the pedal ground loosely. Selina sighed, crouched beside it, already pulling her sleeve over her hand to tug at the greasy chain. Adam approached slowly. He stopped beside her. "You still don't carry tools," he said quietly. Selina glanced up, not startled. "You still try to fix things with your hands?" He shrugged. "Only when it matters." She stepped back wordlessly, letting him kneel down. Chloe leaned over his shoulder, fascinated. "Is it broken forever?" she asked. "Nothing's forever," Adam replied, wiping his fingers. "It's just stuck." "Like Mommy's music box?" Lily asked from behind. Selina glanced over at Adam. He smiled softly, but didn't say more. The chain clicked back into place. He stood and rolled the bike forward once. Smooth again. Selina offered him a clean napkin from her bag. "Thanks." He wiped his hands slowly. "You're welcome." The four of them began walking, the bike now a quiet companion between Adam and Selina, Chloe still riding and humming off-key. Lily skipped ahead, her backpack bouncing. For a while, no one spoke. Then Chloe turned her head. "Are you Mommy's old friend?" Adam hesitated. "Yeah, something like that." Lily stopped walking, looked at him hard. "You look like the man in Mommy's photo box." Selina's steps slowed. She didn't turn around, but she didn't deny it either. Before Adam could speak, a voice called from across the street. "Selina, that you?" A tall, sharp-eyed woman with curly brown hair and a red scarf crossed the road, holding a bouquet of wildflowers. "Clara," Selina said warmly. "It's been forever." Clara looked at Adam, then at the girls, and raised her brows. "So this is that Adam?" Selina chuckled lightly. "He's just visiting." Clara offered her hand. "Well, I've heard things. Good things. Mostly." Adam shook her hand. "I'm trying to deserve at least some of them." Clara grinned. "Nice answer." She turned to the girls. "Your mummy used to paint wildflowers better than anyone. Did you know that?" "We painted trees yesterday," Chloe said proudly. "With hearts," Lily added. "Of course you did," Clara smiled. "You're Morgan's." She waved goodbye and disappeared into the florist's shop. Selina sighed. "Small town, no secrets." Adam looked at her. "It doesn't seem like you're hiding much." "I don't," she said. "Not anymore." They walked on. Near the bookstore, Lily tugged at Chloe's sleeve and pointed at a row of wind chimes. The two girls darted ahead, fingers stretched toward silver bells. Adam and Selina walked in silence behind them. After a moment, he spoke. "You were right," he said. "About?" "I used to run from anything that looked like it might ask me to stay." Selina didn't look at him, but her voice was steady. "And now?" He looked at the girls, at the quiet street, at the breeze ruffling the hem of her jacket. "Now, I'm starting to wish I was stuck." Selina laughed, quiet, genuine. "You used to hate the word belong," she said. "Told me once that nothing should own you." "I still believe that," he said. "But I'm not sure I want to be alone anymore either." She nodded, and for the first time, she didn't seem to brace herself. Instead, she let herself walk beside him without tightening her arms, without glancing away. They reached the cafe. The girls ran up the steps and pushed the door open. Selina reached for the bike. Adam took it instead. "I'll bring it around back," he offered. Selina paused. "You don't have to." "I know." He wheeled it away slowly. The street was quiet behind him. The silence didn't feel like absence. It felt like space. Space for something to begin. The afternoon light slanted through the windows of the bookstore in long, golden bars. Dust hung suspended in the hush between shelves, undisturbed by foot traffic. A bell above the door jingled faintly as Adam stepped inside. The sound somehow softer here. He wasn't looking for anything specific. He just needed the stillness. Marvin gave him a polite nod from the counter, said nothing. Adam moved through the aisles like he was searching for something he hadn't yet named. He stopped in front of the children's section, ran his fingers along the spines. Fairy tales, animal adventures, a picture book titled Big Feelings in Small Hearts. He picked it up. "You thinking of giving that to Chloe?" a familiar voice asked behind him. He turned. Selina stood in the doorway, coat open, one hand curled around a reusable coffee cup. Her hair was still slightly windblown from earlier. There was no anger on her face. But there was something else. Something guarded. "I was," Adam said, holding the book up. "I don't know what 6-year-olds read." 6.5, Selina corrected quietly. Then she stepped forward, placed her coffee on the windowsill. "Why are you really here, Adam?" He met her gaze. "To talk." Her expression tightened. "I mean it," he said. "Really talk. Not about bikes or muffins or yesterday. I need you to tell me the truth." She didn't answer at first. Instead, she turned away slightly, picking up a small stack of bookmarks from the counter and flipping through them like they mattered. "I think I deserve to know," Adam continued. "If they're mine." Selina didn't look at him. "You left, Adam." "I know. You changed your number, your email. You moved halfway across the country and never looked back." He stepped closer. "That's not an answer. It's the only one I had to live with for 6 years." He stood still, waiting. Selina finally turned to face him fully, jaw tight, voice low but steady. "I wrote to you," she said. "After I found out. I called. 3 letters came back unopened. The number I had didn't exist anymore. It wasn't that you disappeared. It's that you erased yourself." Adam swallowed hard. "I didn't know." "You didn't want to," she said. The words landed like stones. Selina looked away again, and for a moment, the air between them felt too thick to breathe. "I thought you didn't want the weight," she said. "You told me once that love was just another leash, that you didn't want to belong to anyone, not even a future." Adam closed his eyes briefly, like her words echoed too loudly in his head. "I was wrong," he said. Selina smiled bitterly. "You were young. You were afraid. I don't blame you for that." He stepped closer again. "I do," he whispered. "I blame me." She didn't stop him this time. "I should have asked," he said. "I should have wondered. But I was so busy proving I didn't need anything. I didn't notice what I was losing." Selina's face shifted then, something inside it softening, though her eyes still shimmered like ice on glass. "Do they know?" Adam asked. She shook her head. "Not yet." "Why?" "Because I didn't want them growing up feeling abandoned," she said. "So I told them their father was someone I once loved, and that he was far away, and that it didn't mean he didn't care." Adam looked down. "I didn't care," he said. "Not until I saw them." Selina didn't move. "And now?" she asked. "Now I can't stop," he whispered. There was silence. Then she reached into her coat pocket and pulled out something folded, a drawing, crumpled slightly at the corners. She held it out. He took it, opened it carefully. A crayon picture. 2 girls, smiling, holding hands with a woman who looked like Selina. A man stood at the edge of the paper, half colored in, just outside the doorway of a little house. His face was blank. No features. Just a space. "They drew this last week," Selina said. "Chloe said he felt familiar, but she couldn't name him." Adam's throat closed. His fingers tightened on the paper. And then, quietly, without warning, his eyes filled. He turned slightly, blinking hard, but the tears came anyway. Not loud, not messy. Just real. Like a dam cracking after years of pretending it didn't exist. Selina didn't speak. She didn't touch him. But she didn't walk away either. He looked back up at her through blurry eyes. "I'm sorry," he said, "for everything. For not being the man you needed me to be. For not even trying." She nodded, slowly. "You can't undo time, Adam." "I know. But you're here now." He met her gaze. "Does that count?" Selina breathed out, slow and long. Then finally she said, "I don't know. But maybe it's not too late to find out." She picked up her coffee, walked past him, paused at the door. "I'm picking them up from art class at 4, she said without turning around. "If you want to come." Then she pushed the door open and stepped into the golden afternoon light. Adam stood alone in the quiet bookstore, holding the crayon drawing like it was the most fragile thing he'd ever touched. And now, he didn't feel erased. He felt seen. The sky was the kind of soft blue that made everything below it seem slower. A breeze ran lazy fingers through the trees lining the park, carrying the sound of kids laughing, sneakers pounding against grass, and the occasional bark from a dog chasing nothing at all. Adam stood, awkwardly at the edge of the soccer field, hands in his pockets. Chloe spotted him first. She waved both arms like she was trying to signal an airplane. "You came." "I said I would," Adam replied, walking over. She tossed him a ball without warning. It bounced off his thigh and rolled away. "You're supposed to catch it," she giggled. "I never said I was any good." Chloe tilted her head. "Mum said you used to be on a team." Adam raised an eyebrow toward Selina, who sat on a bench nearby with a book in her lap. "She exaggerates," he called. Selina didn't look up, just smiled faintly. Soon enough, Chloe had him in goal. She lined up pine cones as makeshift posts and gave him serious instructions. "No blocking with hands. You're a goal person, not a goalie." Adam crouched, bemused. "Is that an official rule?" "Yep," she kicked. The ball rolled gently past his foot. She screamed in delight anyway. From the corner of his eye, he saw Lily sitting under a nearby tree, a sketch pad resting on her knees. She wasn't watching the game. She was drawing. Adam stepped away from the field after a few more rounds and walked over to her. He stood quietly for a moment. "What are you working on?" Lily didn't answer at first. Then, without looking up, she said, "Trees." He sat beside her, not too close. "Mind if I draw something too?" Lily handed him a crayon without a word. He took it like it might break in his hand. "I'm not good at this." "That's okay," she said. "You don't have to be." He glanced over. Her trees had faces, gentle, sleepy eyes, and wide, leafy arms. They look friendly. "They're not afraid of storms," she said simply. Adam's throat tightened. "That's a good thing to be." She looked at him then, eyes serious. "Are you afraid of storms?" He paused. "I used to be. I think I'm trying not to be anymore." They sat in silence, coloring. Later, at Selina's house, Chloe fell asleep curled on the couch, her soccer ball still clutched under one arm. Lily and Adam sat at the kitchen table, working on puzzles. Selina had gone upstairs to put away laundry. The evening light slanted across the room in quiet gold. Lily was unusually quiet. Then, as she placed the last puzzle piece, she said, "You're not scary anymore." Adam blinked. "Was I scary before?" She shrugged. "Not scary like monsters, just new." He smiled. "New can be scary sometimes." Lily traced her finger over the finished picture on the table, a lighthouse on a rocky shore. "Do you know what daddies do?" she asked softly. Adam set down his cup. "Some things. Not all. They carry heavy things, and they help with scary dreams." He nodded slowly. "Yeah, I think that's right." She looked up at him. Her voice was barely a whisper. "If I called you Dad, would that be okay?" Adam couldn't speak. His chest clenched, as if every answer he'd never given, every letter he hadn't read, Every moment he'd missed was sitting right there in her eyes. He swallowed, once, twice. Then he nodded, and the tears came, quiet again, just like before. He reached for her hand, held it. That would be more than okay. Lily leaned into his side, not tightly, not all at once, but enough. And she didn't let go. Selina stood in the doorway, a laundry basket in her arms. She'd heard it all, but she didn't speak. She just watched and smiled. The clouds moved in low that morning, folding the sky into quiet grey. The breeze had lost its sweetness, carrying instead the faint smell of wet concrete and morning newsprint. From somewhere down the block, the hollow clang of a screen door echoed, followed by the hum of a delivery truck pulling away. Adam's phone rang. He stared at the screen for a long second before answering. "Madison," he said, already knowing. "You need to come back," she said without preamble. "Now." "What happened?" "You've been spotted. There's a photo, some local blog. You and 2 kids outside the cafe. It went viral overnight." Adam rubbed the back of his neck. So Tech Press just ran a headline. "Billionaire CEO disappears with secret family. Stock dropped 4% in the last hour. Investors are panicking. Legal is already drafting statements." He closed his eyes. And Madison's voice dropped lower. "If you don't put out the fire, someone else will, and they'll light the match with your name." Adam stood in the center of the guest house room. Same bed, same suitcase half open. But now, it all felt smaller. "Send me the photo," he said quietly. Selina opened the door without a word. Her eyes were sharp, unforgiving. She held up her phone, already showing him the image. It was them, Selina, Lily, Chloe, and Adam, mid-laugh outside the cafe. Chloe had frosting on her nose. Lily's hand was in his. "You said no one knew," she said. "I didn't," he answered. "They do now." He stepped inside slowly, closing the door behind him. "Selina, I told you I don't care about your past or your money, but I do care about them." Her voice cracked. "I will not let my girls become a headline." Adam's voice was tight. "I didn't leak anything." "But you being here is enough, isn't it?" she said. "You don't get to walk in and bring the world with you." He stood silent. "I've kept their life quiet, safe. I built this town around their childhood like a fence." "I didn't mean for this to happen." She shook her head. "But it did. And you still don't know if you're staying." He hesitated. "I do know." That stopped her. "I'm staying," he said, firmer now. "Not because it's easy, or because I have some answer, but because I can't leave them again. Not after Lily called me Dad." Selina's shoulders dropped just slightly, but her eyes didn't soften. "Then you'd better be sure," she said. "Because the world knows your name, Adam, and now they know theirs too." At the cafe later that afternoon, Clara was wiping the window display when Adam passed by. She glanced at him with a complicated look, half worry, half understanding. "Rough morning?" she asked. Adam nodded. "Reese didn't mean to stir trouble," she added. "He thought it was a soft piece. Small-town charm. Didn't realize who you were." "I did," Adam replied quietly. She stopped wiping. "Then you knew this might happen?" "I knew," he said. "I just thought maybe no one would care." "Well, they do." He looked at the town around him, its painted doors, its handwritten menus, its slowness. He looked back toward the cafe windows, where Chloe sat drawing with crayons, oblivious. "I care more," he said. Clara nodded once, then returned to her glass. That night, Lily sat in the living room floor, cradling her drawing book. She didn't speak, but Adam could feel something had shifted. Selina stepped into the room, holding a folded blanket. "She heard me on the phone earlier," she said softly. "She asked if we were in trouble." Adam crouched next to Lily. Hey. Lily looked up at him. Are people mad because I called you Dad? His voice caught. No, sweetheart, he said. Not mad. Just surprised. Some people like to make stories out of what they don't understand. Do you still get to be here? She asked. Or do you have to go fix your company? Adam looked over at Selena, then back to Lily. I already made my choice, he said, and it has your name on it. She nodded, slow and trusting. Selena watched from across the room, something in her face softening. She didn't say thank you. She didn't need to. The city unfolded beneath a steel-grey sky, its skyline crisp against the glass windows of Adam's apartment. From the 38th floor, everything looked exactly as he'd left it. Too polished, too perfect. Below, horns blared. Lights blinked in predictable rhythm. But for the first time, none of it moved him. He stood in his living room, suitcase by the door, the familiar weight of a tailored suit on his shoulders. A framed photo on the credenza caught his eye. An old publicity still, him shaking hands with a venture capital titan, all smiles and steel eyes. Adam turned it face down. The silence was thick, humming with the things he hadn't said yet. His phone buzzed. Madison. You're expected in conference room A in 15, she said briskly. Board's prepped. Media's already downstairs. I'm on my way, he said. He paused, then added, Thank you, Madison. For holding the line. There was a beat of surprise on the other end. Then, You're welcome, sir. The ride down in the private elevator felt longer than usual. Maybe because he was actually present in it. Maybe because he wasn't returning to reclaim anything, but to let it go. As he stepped into the boardroom, Daniel Parker stood near the head of the table, adjusting his tie. Place hasn't burned down yet, Daniel said. His tone was light, but his eyes were searching. That good news or bad? Adam managed a smile. Depends on how attached you are to it. Daniel folded his arms. You sure about this? I've never been more. Daniel gave a small nod. Then I'll hold it steady until you're ready to build something else. The room quieted as Adam stepped forward, adjusting the mic. Outside the frosted glass walls, members of the media waited behind velvet ropes. A camera feed was live streaming to a crowd much larger than the one physically present. Adam didn't bring notes. He didn't need them. My name is Adam Cole, he began, voice steady, hands relaxed at the podium. You've known me as a CEO, a strategist, sometimes a headline, most days a man with a phone in one hand and the future in the other. A quiet rustle in the crowd. But for the first time in my life, I want to introduce myself differently. He paused. I'm a father. That silenced everything. I didn't grow up planning to be one. I didn't prepare for it. I wasn't even there when it began. But life doesn't always follow the roadmap you draft in your 20s. Sometimes it veers. Sometimes it hands you a mirror instead of a trophy. And for the first time, I looked. A murmur. Cameras clicked. I met two children who changed how I breathe, who paint trees with faces and teach me what bravery looks like in crayon. A few gentle chuckles. I met a woman who built a life not around noise and deals, but around kindness and quiet and cinnamon rolls that somehow taste like belonging. More chuckles, now warm. So I'm here today to say something simple. I'm not going to lead this company anymore. A pause. Audible gasps in the room. I'm stepping down as CEO of Cole Innovations. Effective immediately, Daniel Parker will assume the role with my full confidence. Daniel didn't flinch. Adam looked around the room. His voice softened, but it did not shake. I'm choosing something else now. I'm choosing late afternoons at the park, homework at the kitchen table. I'm choosing to learn how to be a good man, not just a powerful one. He stepped back. No applause. Just breath, held too long, finally released. And then the room erupted. Later, in his office, Adam packed slowly. No assistants, no boxes waiting in neat stacks. Just him. He slipped Lily's crayon drawing into a leather folder, folded a soft blue scarf Chloe had left behind during one of their video calls that week. And in the final drawer, he found a keychain. Build something real. He took it. As he turned to leave, Daniel stood in the doorway. "You'll still take my calls, right?" he said, half joking. Adam grinned. "Only if they come with pictures of my replacements sweating in board meetings." Daniel walked with him to the elevator. Just before the doors closed, he added quietly, "You did the right thing, you know." Adam met his eyes. "I didn't do it to be right," he said. "I did it to be whole." That evening, as his train pulled out of the city station, Adam sat by the window, collar undone, sleeves rolled. He watched the skyline shrink behind him, glass and steel folding into the distance, replaced by trees and amber light. A young ticket taker passed by. "Business or personal?" she asked, glancing at the form in her hand. Adam smiled. "Family." She nodded and moved on. He looked down at his phone. A message waited. "Selena, Lily asked if you'd be home in time to read tonight's chapter. Chloe wants to skip to the dragon part." Adam typed back, "Tell them I'm bringing a better story." And he was. This one had their names in it, and it was just beginning. The air in Willow Creek carried the scent of early spring, cut grass, distant baking, and something faintly floral drifting in from the hills. The train hissed as it came to a gentle stop, and the doors opened not with urgency, but with the hush of return. Adam stepped down, one hand gripping a worn leather bag, the other tucked in his pocket, steady. This time, he wasn't lost. This time, they were waiting. Selena stood just beyond the platform, wearing a soft green dress, her hair pulled back in a way that made him ache with something familiar and entirely new. Chloe bounced beside her, clutching a crayon sign that read, "Welcome back, Daddy." Letters uneven, colors clashing. Lily stood more still, but the corner of her mouth tilted up the moment she saw him. Adam walked toward them. No speech, no rush. When he reached them, Chloe launched herself into his legs, laughing. "You said you'd come back." "I always will," he said, crouching to her level, "especially when dragons are waiting." Lily stepped forward, slower. Adam opened his arms, and she slid in without a word, resting her cheek against his shoulder. Selena watched, quiet. The lines around her eyes softened. "I didn't know what I'd see when the train doors opened," she said. Adam stood, eyes holding hers. "I hoped it would be you." Later that afternoon, the town felt like it had exhaled. The sun leaned against rooftops. A dog barked half-heartedly at a passing squirrel. Inside, Wren and Willow, Leo stood near the back wall, giving final brushstrokes to the mural Adam had asked for weeks ago. Selena hadn't seen it yet. The cafe door jingled. She turned, apron in hand, eyes narrowing. "What are you two up to?" Adam nodded at Leo, who stepped aside. Selena blinked. The mural covered the whole rear wall, soft pastels and earth tones. It showed a house that looked vaguely like hers. A crooked tree leaning over a wooden fence, two children running, wind in their hair. At the edge of the image stood a man, not grand or central, but there, holding the gate open. Adam said nothing. He didn't need to. Selena stepped closer, fingers brushing over the painted bark. "Who asked you to do this?" she murmured. Leo shrugged. He just said, "Make it honest." She turned toward Adam, lips parted. "Why?" Adam pulled something from his pocket, a small wooden box. Simple, smooth, well worn around the edges, like something carried for months before being handed over. "I never knew where I belonged," he said. "I kept thinking it had to be somewhere high or loud or impossible." He opened the box. Inside, a ring. Not flashy, not cold, just one small round diamond set into a band that looked strong enough to last. "But it's here," he said, "next to the sound of your laugh, in Chloe's drawings and Lily's quiet nods, in this place that doesn't need me to be anything but theirs." Selena's throat worked once. "Adam." He stepped forward. "I'm not asking to rewrite the past. I'm asking to stay for everything after it." Silence. And then the smallest, realest smile broke across her face. "You're sure?" she asked. "I'm tired of not being," he answered. She closed the box, keeping her fingers on his. "Okay." At the doorway, two small heads peeked in. "Did she say yes?" Chloe yelled. Selena turned. She did. The girls whooped. Chloe ran inside. Lily followed, slower but beaming. They hugged him at once, tight, unscripted. That evening, the four of them sat on the porch steps, eating dinner from mismatched plates and watching the sky turn lavender. Tom passed by with his usual evening stroll, tapping his cane twice on the stones. He tipped his hat toward Adam. "So, you stayed?" Adam nodded. "I did." Tom grinned. "Good. Some people only get one real stop in life. Most miss it." Adam looked at Selena, at the girls, curled on either side of him. "I almost did." Tom walked on. Inside, after the girls fell asleep, one tucked into a nest of blankets, the other holding a book she never finished, Adam stood in the doorway of their room, just watching. Selena came up behind him. "They love you." "I'm beginning to love myself," he whispered. She slid her hand into his. They stood there, together, in the hush of a house that now held their name in it. Adam pressed a kiss to her hair, and then, quiet but certain, he said, "That wrong train." He paused, voice almost a breath. "Was the rightest journey of my life." What did you think of Adam's journey? Was his choice to leave behind power for love one you could imagine making yourself? This story explores how the wrong turn in life can sometimes lead us exactly where we're meant to be. What life lesson stood out most to you? Was it about second chances, quiet courage, or the power of simply choosing to stay? Let us know your thoughts